Super excited to be here with Adam Weeks, who is the sales team lead over at Bigtincan. Bigtincan is one of the world's most valuable sales enablement platforms. My name's James Ski. I'm the CEO and founder of Sales Confidence, and this is the Sales Confidence podcast. Really excited to have you here today, Adam. Looking forward to this conversation. Tell me, what are you most excited about today?
Speaking to you, of course. I'm only joking. I'm
I'm
always excited
glad.
to speak to you.
I'm glad.
No. What am I most excited about? Making sure that I can move my entire house all in one go in a nice, orderly fashion right before Christmas. So for those that are listening, I am moving house right before Christmas.
I love that. Well, I love the fact that you committed to this interview in the middle of a move, which just
Yeah.
highlights the type of character you are, Adam. So, looking forward to learning more in this conversation today.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, we've been looking forward to this for a little while, so nothing's stopping
Very
me.
good man. Good man. Great commitment. So let's learn a little bit about you initially, and then we'll learn more about Big Tin Can and your journey and your experience in sales that you've been on. The first question I like to ask is, what's the first thing you typically think of when you wake up in the morning?
What's the weather like before I walk the dogs? Is probably the thing. Is it raining? Is it freezing? What am I going to be wearing? Is probably the first thing I think of as soon as I get up, and that is without shadow of a doubt every single morning, no matter what time of the year it is.
What time do you usually wake up?
Between 5 and half 5, I'm up now.
Wow, an early riser then.
Yeah. I think from the early days of from being in the army, it's always been part of my sort of routine. I mean, there probably was a stage where it would probably be like get up at 7, but no, it's I've trained myself to get up earlier because, as they say, I do get some time to myself to get ready for the day. Where I don't have like kids running around or the dogs going mental. It's just like silence. So yeah, 5 half 5 on a good day.
Good man. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So thinking about your journey, and I'm sure you're pulling some of your story of being in the army, and that leads to kind of my question of, thinking about where you are now in your career, like where's the motivation and inspiration come from to enable you to kind of become a successful leader in the SaaS space?
Yeah, I think really from a very young age, I've just always had that sort of tenacity. I think you would probably call it, just for me to do better for myself, right, and for those close in my sort of close circle. Very much very given person, so I'm always giving stuff away to people or helping someone. And I think that's just come across throughout my entire career in the army, and then all the way through all the different sales roles that I've had. And then especially now in Big Tin Can, where I'm help leading some of the AEs and SDRs and really helping them break their career in not just sales enablement but just in SaaS in general, right? It's and seeing that come off is a massive driver because it does make you feel good. Like I don't care who you are, but if you can show somebody that this is the maybe a way to do something and they put their own spin on it and see the success, like that's great. Like that is a massive motivator for me.
So you get a lot of pride in seeing others develop and achieve in their careers as a result of your input.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then I think that helps drive me on to want to do better for myself too, right? So if I can see that, oh, maybe they're getting a little bit better than what I'm doing, it's like gives me the driver to go, oh, I'm being left behind, so I need to get out there and learn something new, or I need to rethink of what I'm doing to try and get even better than what I am. Or I can't sit still.
I like that.
So
I like that. And where did your do you recall your first experience or interaction, with a salesperson or the first sale that you made in your career? How did that come about?
yeah, it's actually this is right back when I first left the army. I went to this really, I don't think it was it wasn't a great place to work, that's for sure. They didn't hang around for long, but it was selling mobile phones to like construction workers, and it was literally yellow pages. I'm sure there's some people on this will watch this don't even know what that is, but the yellow pages, they were like door stops. You'd be flicking through those pages, just picking up the phone and calling and looking at the next one and looking at the next one. I remember this old sort of construction company answered, and I was like, "Hey, like, the iPhones weren't even around then, I don't think." And I managed to sell 10 mobile phones to this construction company, and I felt top of the world from a cold call out of the yellow pages and 10 mobile phones sold. I think they were like BT Cellnet phones; they were ancient. But yeah, I think that's definitely the first interaction of a sale and the first interaction to cold calling. And my goodness, some of the feedback you'd get is a little bit rude for maybe this podcast.
Yeah, I can imagine the yellow page calling's brutal.
Oh yeah,
I started in the telecoms industry, and it was a similar approach. Like, here's a list of numbers,
yeah,
go call them. Small business owners as well that are
yeah.
often like very stretched, and they get very frustrated very quickly when someone's selling to them. So I can imagine like the competition for selling mobile phones during that time
Yeah,
would have been high. So to get a nice win like that would have been exhilarating.
yeah. It definitely paid off because, like, and I think and I'm maybe I stayed in that job for a lot longer than I first expected. The first sort of job out of the army, the army don't really teach you how to be the way you are. The transition across into civilian life. So I think just with the thick skin that I had in the army, sort of definitely helped me through. It's helped me through my career. That's for sure.
Well, that's interesting. So, like, thinking about the success that you've had through multiple roles to get to this point now at
Mm.
Bigtincan, what do you think is enabled you to be successful at each stage of your career?
I think being mindfully open, to be honest with you, and have it and being intrigued as to why do these people buy what you're selling. Um, I think it's and almost in a way it's not about the product. It's like being on the other side of the fence. Like, if I was the buyer, would I buy this? And if so, why would I buy it? And how would it help me in, I don't know, my marketing role or my sales leader role or whatever it might be. And I think having just asking more questions and learning a bit more, and not just the fact that, oh yeah, here, sell this, sell this, sell this. It's about, what is, why are these people buying this? They're not buying it for a particular reason. And I think taking that into different roles, from recruitment, you open up your eyes to a lot of sort of open questions and learning about why people, why they're motivated to go to different jobs. It almost takes the same stance as to why are people motivated to buy software, right? And using that in both industries has just really helped me become, a better seller in the SaaS space because, well, you're selling to a person, right? You're not selling to a robot, although they might all sound like robots. But no, I think taking all of that bit by bit and holding on to it has just helped massively in each role I go into, I
Fantastic.
think.
Fantastic. Kind of moving on now to learn a little bit more about the company Bigtincan. Can you just explain, for people that might be discovering Bigtincan for the first time, like what do you guys do? What do you offer? Who do you help?
Yeah, so Bigtincan is actually an Australian company. We're on the Australian Stock Exchange, and we span across the globe, so North America, EMEA, and APAC. And we're a sales enablement software vendor. So we provide a single pane of glass where sales reps or customer facing teams can come into, access all of their sales material or customer face material, do all of their training, all with inside one application. And the best thing about it from a front end perspective is I don't have to go to like 7 different tabs to get what I need. I have it all inside one place. And the benefit to business leaders, sales leaders, marketing leaders, is it's all trackable. So I can see what content is helping each rep and how it's helping them in the sales cycle. So we can now start making better educated guesses as to what training do people need, and also what content do people need. And we box all that up inside one platform.
Fantastic. And in terms of, the reason why you joined, but also why is Bigtincan attractive to other people? What do you kind of look for in your hires, and why do people come and work for you?
Well, what attracted me to the role? Well, actually seeing the product, because I was a sales rep and been at many different companies that use like SharePoint, Google Drive, Confluence, and you don't know what you don't know, because you don't know if there's content there or if there's training material there to help you. And when I started seeing about what this platform can do and how it can start surfacing up material that might be of interest to me, I was like, I'm sold. Like that's going to help me so much, and it has, right? I've been here now for almost 3 years and sold, over, a few $1 million worth of deals, in the 3 years I've been here, because the system's constantly helping me get better. And I think that just taking that and using the product and talking about it yourself, it's like, it just, you drink your own champagne, as they say, right? And then when it comes to trying to work with people to come to Bigtincan, and what I sort of look out for, is, again, it's just about, are these people, are they always open to being curious? Like if they're curious and they're interested in what you do, and they're putting the effort in to get to know you as a person, then that's me, right? If I can see myself in them, like that's the type of person that I want to work with. So some of the characteristics that I might look out for is that they'll challenge me on a call. Why should I come work here? Or why are you in your role? And I'm like, oh, that's refreshing. As where some people just sit there and they listen and they listen and they listen and they don't say anything, unfortunately. And then if you were to put them in front of a customer, would they really be able to drive the customer pain points and hold the customer to them? I don't know. I don't think so. So yeah, I think just someone who's not afraid to put themselves out there, is a little bit curious, and is open to going against the curve. This is some of the people I look out for.
I like that. Great. Well, this would be a good opportunity for people to listen to prior to their interview, to discover how they should stand out when interviewing with Adam. I like that. So, going in a little bit more into kind of like the tactical side of sales. Is there a book you've read that has shaped your thought process or approach to sales, or a business book that's inspired you in your career that stands out to you?
Yeah, I literally just packed them away. I've read a number of different books. Mainly the one, it's the how to make friends and influence them, has been quite a big one for me. But also, I think a lot of prospecting books have been really good for me to understand, like, how to get in the mind of some of these people that you're prospecting. So one I read recently, which I thought was pretty good, was the sales engagement book from the founders of Outreach. So Mark Cosgrove, and was a massive sort of, that guy's all about discovery, right? So if you can get into the mind of your buyer, you'd be able to deliver a fantastic discovery call, but also you can get in front of them easier because you understand what their needs are and how you can help them. So I'm taking all these different snippets from all these different books and sort of putting that across in training sessions to my team, to try and help them start thinking about, it's not just you and your number, it's the customer. How are you going to help them, and why should they take your call? So yeah, I like reading all different types, whether it be a sales leader's book, or it's about prospecting, or it's just about being a little bit better for yourself, right? I wouldn't say I stay in a stream. I like to jump across many.
No, great. I mean, some really solid examples of just helpful tactical approaches that you can apply in your day to day. You mentioned earlier, how people that demonstrate kind of a level of curiosity when they're interviewing you. And naturally, you've interacted with thousands of salespeople because of the nature of your enablement platform.
Mm.
I'm just curious, like, in your mind, like what is it that stands out in the best salespeople that you've interacted with? Like, what do they demonstrate that kind of makes them come across as a top performer, or in your mind,
Yeah.
a better salesperson?
Firstly, it's confidence that they believe in themselves. As you know, they've got a great product. They use the product that they're selling. They believe in it, which then gives them the confidence to stand up there in front of, whoever that might be, or come onto a webinar, Zoom type call like this and be able to talk about it. I think those that get to use the product that they're selling are probably the best salespeople out there, because they can genuinely and authentically talk about the product that they're then trying to sell to you, right? I've been in many different companies where you don't actually get to use the product at all. So how are you meant to get the enthusiasm and the belief that this is the right type of tool to use? So I think, if for me and some of the sales people I've met before and worked with, they've all used some of the products that they've been selling. So they have that confidence, they have that ballsiness to sit there and challenge the customer, because they
Yeah.
know how good this product is going to be. So yeah, I think um, those are the type of people that when I've interviewed, it's like you can tell if they're really confident in their product and if they genuinely believe in it. And I think that's really hard to find sometimes, because the average tenure of a sales rep is so low that sometimes it's very hard for sellers to be able to really believe in the solutions that they're offering, because their onboarding experience has been pretty poor. So yeah, I think a top tip, if you're not using the product that you sell, go and use it and see why people buy these things, and speak to some of your existing customers and the customer success team to understand the use cases, and just believe in one, see how it works, and then go from there. It's what
No,
I did to learn Bigtincan.
yeah, great advice. And I think, the word I kind of add in there is like competence. Like, once you
Mm,
competently understand the product and
yeah,
the problem it solves, how it's helpful for people, the user cases that it adds value to, then that increases your confidence, because you can understand that the value, the impact, and the outcomes that it's driving, which
yeah,
means you are in a better position to then challenge
mm,
individuals that are pushing back based on their skewed view on what you offer. So I think
yeah,
that's great advice.
yeah,
Naturally, at Bigtincan, you're at the forefront of enablement and
mm.
improving the outcomes of salespeople across the sales organization. Have you got any thoughts or predictions, for 2023 or beyond, what you see changing in sales in terms of, how people approach the sales process, or anything that you might be bringing to the market, like just any observations that you've got?
Um, I think for 2023, I think a lot of companies are going to look to um, make a lot of the tech stack redundant, and they're probably going to start looking for a solution that can do, or a vendor that can offer multiple pieces of technology and from one source. And I think that's only going to make enablement platforms just even more valuable to organizations. I do see that moving forward, there's going to be a lot of AI being required. So, for example, like recommending different pieces of content. It's all good and well putting content into these platforms, but if it's not been viewed in over 30 days, like, it's redundant, the content itself. So you need to have stuff that's going to keep on regurgitating to the sales reps, because they can only hold so much information. My partner will happily back that up, that statement. But what I sort of see for 2023 is more of a unified platform that is actually ticking off in a lot of different boxes, and that could be from content creation to content delivery to learning creation, creating courses in a learning solution and delivering that to the team. So I think really the enablement world is only going to get bigger. There's going to be more players in this field, but it's going to be recognized by a lot of big businesses. I think we're not even anywhere near the tip of the iceberg yet, and I think 2023 will definitely help shape where this industry goes.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that evolves. I should have asked this question when you responded about the top salespeople demonstrating confidence. So I guess the question directed personally to you, like how have you developed your own confidence? Like where have you got confidence? To show up and perform. Where has that evolved from?
Um, I think I have a small family now, and I think that has driven me on to be a lot more confident and be a bit more tenacious with what I do at work. So because I'm here to support them just as well as myself. But I think going back to right at the beginning at Bigtincan, like I didn't have anybody. I was the first sales rep in EMEA for Bigtincan, so I didn't have anybody to sort of learn off. But I just remembered, like from my time at a previous company, on how to become confident, and that's listening to calls. So it was asking, constantly asking, give me calls, and listening to it. And actually, funny enough, I was actually having a conversation with our new SDR only about a week ago, and they were like, "How do you know how to demo the product so well?" And I was like, "You know what? I've got my boss's first ever demo that he delivered in front of me, recorded on my phone." And I remember I used to walk every morning for about 6 months, listening to that demo, taking the dogs for a walk in the morning and in the evening, every day without fail. I was listening to that demo. So Mike Maggio, give you a shout out there. Um, and I think just yeah, just about, I think I don't know. There's nothing really in particular. I think obviously winning deals has always been a massive confidence boost for me. I think most salespeople will tell you that. So that's been good. And then just being able to use a product like this has it's just given me the confidence to know that what I'm talking about is right. People are buying, which is good. Um, and and yeah, I think some personal goals outside of work help with that too.
Great, I like that. Yeah, a nice holistic approach to
Yeah.
the things that influence you and give you belief
Mm.
and encourage you to show up. I think that's a real thoughtful
Oh,
perspective.
I will add. Sorry, I will add on that as well. Is like it's just getting feedback from my peers. Like feedback on where you are is like whether you like that feedback or not, you need it.
Mm,
And if it's not great, then okay, well, how can I overcome that? Or if it's good, how do I get better? And I think I'm very much for one. I've done a demo only a few days ago, and it didn't go the way I thought it was going to be. So I basically saved it and sent it to our team to figure out, can anybody just tell me where I may have gone wrong here? And like I've been doing demos for 3 years now, and it's like I'm not the polished trophy. I'm never great. No one ever is. It's just might be some days you might just haven't be in an off day. So that's where I don't want to get complacent. And that's why I always ask for feedback.
yeah, great. Leaning on your peers and having humility, so
Yeah.
that that you can still take on feedback and learn and develop.
Mm.
That's some great points. In your career journey, obviously to a level that you're comfortable sharing, have you had to kind of overcome, some setbacks or hardships that like you had to work through to enable you to come out the other side and build on your career?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the word. Uh, it's oh that's yeah. I get really bad imposter syndrome sometimes, and I had a really bad. And I'm happy to share this, like, because I'm sure a lot of people, and I think you've even posted about it before yourself, on LinkedIn, James. And it's like I do suffer with that a little bit. Even probably to this day, I still question myself and whether I'm good enough to be here. Even different awards and stuff that I have on my desk. So I sit and look at to make sure that, yeah, you are good enough to be here. But I went through, when I first started at a company called Lead Forensics, like I really just struggled. Like I think I got complacent. I thought it was going to be easier because I had so many friends that worked there. I thought that this would be a bit of a nice breeze for me to come in and learn, and it was very much the opposite. Um, and yeah, I almost lost my job there because I just wasn't really putting my I wasn't giving it my all. And I think that really, and I had a bit of a wake up call one day and was like, shit, I need to really learn this, or I'm out the door. And then ever since then, didn't want to have that feeling ever again. So I've just made sure that I go back to using the product to believe in it. But at the same time, I think as that has come along and I've got over that now, it's like this imposter syndrome just kicks in, and it's like, oh, you're not good enough to do this, or you're not good enough to say that, and it's like, well, I am because I'm here. But yeah, I think I'm sure there's a lot of different people in many different roles will probably resonate with the imposter syndrome. And at the end of the day, it's your
Yeah,
own thoughts.
absolutely. Yeah, and thanks for being honest. That's
Yeah,
something that we want to encourage about the conversation. And when I think about
yeah.
the importance of developing sales confidence in people, I still have moments, phases where like I just question everything I'm doing and what I represent, and you almost forget what you've achieved and what you've delivered. It's a bizarre phenomenon, but it impacts everybody at all stages of their career, and
Mm,
I think being honest with that just allows gives others a little bit of a relief to say, well, okay, look, Adam's a high achiever, James is a high achiever. Like they still experience these question marks over their skills, experience, and capability. So yeah, I appreciate you being honest around that. If you had to advise people earlier in their career that are working towards your type of level, and you're
mm.
giving them advice about like how they develop their confidence, like what would be your advice to help support encourage someone to develop their confidence?
I mean, I guess there's a million different answers for that one, and I'm sure there's loads of people would have all different says. But I think for me, really, to get somebody, if they were following sort of my path, or if I was to redo it again, or for example, it was my son coming through and wanted to go in the direction I have, um, I think it's just, that confidence comes with self belief, right? And if you can learn all about self belief, then you will you will give off the confidence that you need to be successful. And I mean, you don't I don't mean that like that is the only set way. It's like it's just believing in yourself, and that you are going to make mistakes. You need to understand that you will make mistakes regardless of whoever you are. And if you can understand that that will happen and you can overcome some of those mistakes, then it will ultimately at the end will give you the confidence to keep going to the next hurdle and keep going to the next cold call or to the next cold email. And I think just like I said, it all comes back to is one of the things that you're taught in the army. It's like it's not that self belief and that self confidence, self discipline that you keep going every day, no matter what happens, and there will be tomorrow, and you forget about yesterday today because you're already thinking about tomorrow. And I don't know if that's a quote from somewhere, but it definitely sounds like it.
Does
But
sound good. I like that.
yeah, but that it should breathe a confidence into you. I mean, you can't teach it to say like follow a blackboard or whatever, but if you can start building some little blocks and see those incremental steps every day, then it will end up giving you the confidence. And prime example of that is our SDRs here at Bigtincan. And what I tell them, we've got three of them that have come in from never doing SDR work before. And Rachel, she's just started this month, but Millie and Ben, like top two performers this quarter, absolutely smashing it out the park globally. And I said, next quarter we're going to get to the top. And you sort of see them look back and go like, what? And it's like, no, no, stop. Before you think about the top, it's how we're going to get to the top. And every little step will breathe you more confidence in you to get the next meeting, to get the next um, cold appointment in the diary. And funny enough, here we are at the end of the year, 3 months later, and it's like, where are you now? You're both sitting top of the tree. And I think, yeah, long-winded answer, but you could go, yeah, it's
I
just,
like that. I think there's focusing, and I can see how your army experience has positively impacted your professional
mm,
career, because obviously you've always got to move forward.
yeah,
And you can only focus on what is directly in front of you,
mm,
and kind of overcome those challenges, or make progress by kind of taking out chunks
yeah,
of the activity. And I think a lot of the time there's a lot going on around you as a sales professional. You can get
mm,
distracted, you can procrastinate, you can get
yeah,
overwhelmed with what's going on. But at the end of the day, you just got to put your next foot in front of you, and make the step forward. So I can
yeah,
see, why you've had such a positive impact on those
mm,
early in their career, and that's great. You mentioned earlier about, so we're coming up to the end of the conversation.
yeah.
You do your daily dog walk by the sound of it. What else do you generally just do to take care of yourself, like from a health and well-being perspective?
Well, I'd be, I tried to keep the input of, I love food and I love socializing, so I need to try and sort of curb that sort of next year. But when it comes to sort of like a mental well-being, I mean, yeah, I should, for all those foodies out there, I should eat better. Yes, I know. But from a mental perspective, is I set like certain times in the day, and I'm happy to share like the way I structure my calendar after this, but and how I've structured my team's calendars, because it's all about your mental well-being, never mind sort of anything else, right? Because if you don't have your mental well-being, then you don't have anything else, right? And I think that's really important. You can go to different jobs and you can have different cars, you can have different partners, but if you're not giving yourself a break upstairs, then it's you're not moving forward. So what I do is, yes, I have my dog walks in the morning, but there is at some points in the day I just turn the laptop off and go outside for 5 minutes and literally walk to the end of the garden and come back again. Because I don't normally, that's not a normal thing. So I just get out there and do it. But what I also do is I listen to podcasts just on, other, just like none in particular. I don't really stick to one. Um, I've got a couple I like, but I like to just listen to some that are either relaxing sort of music to de-stress and get rid of the work head that Adam constantly has on all the time. I'm a sucker for working at 10 o'clock at night, which shouldn't happen. But I use these apps that sort of relax you. I think you can get, I don't know which ones most people use, but I mean, I was listening to one yesterday just because I'm moving house, and it was just the ocean. I was just sat there for 5 minutes, and although I live right by the sea, I was like, I just put the earplugs in, and I just sat there. The TV was on. I wasn't even watching TV. I was just sat staring at the sea, listening to the waves, just because I needed that headspace. Actually, I think that's an app that I use, is Headspace. To give myself a break. And I think more people need to do that. In 2023, we've had the pandemic, we've had the Ukraine war, we've had the fuel prices, food going up. Like, there's been so much distraction in the social media, never mind at work. Like, I think, when it comes to you as an individual, you need to chill out. And that's what I
Mm.
tell the SDRs and my A's, like, you know, just give yourself a break. You can't force people to do something that you want them to, and the quicker you can
Yeah.
learn that, the more the less the least amount the less stress you should encounter. But like I said, nothing's perfect. But if you can get an app into your ears and listen to something that takes you away from where you are, like, it will
Yeah,
help.
no,
I can
great
absolutely.
advice, and I think a good reminder
Yeah,
for everyone, especially as salespeople, you're so driven and motivated to win the next deal, chase the number, and
Yeah.
so kind of making those and having those breaks is really important. It's been fascinating to learn about your journey, some of the things that you've overcome to put yourself in this position that you are now at Bigtincan. Just have you got any kind of final bit of knowledge or something you want to mention about Bigtincan, or just a final takeaway that you want to express to the audience that have been listening and watching this far?
Yeah, I just think for those in a leadership role, I think 2023 you're going to have to give your team a bit of an extra inch on just to give them a break. Like, we're all going through a lot of hardship right now, if you want to call it that. And I think there's maybe we need to give those who are performing like a little bit of a breather just to keep them there. You don't want to burn them out. And I think we see a lot of people talking on LinkedIn like, oh, this is what's going to happen, and this is this, that, and the other. This software is going to do this. This market's going to go there. We don't talk about ourselves and what we're going to do for each other. So I think, like, if anything, it's look out for each other next year. It's going to be tough, and if you are looking to try and navigate this world of ever longer sales cycles, maybe you should look at a sales enablement platform to help you educate your team so that they can facilitate those conversations with the right content. And that's pretty much what I would say for anybody listening this far for next
Fantastic.
year.
Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. It's been really great just seeing your personality come alive on LinkedIn this year as well. Finding out about the leaders behind the Bigtincan brand and what you guys care about, I think is a good demonstration of how much you culturally and as people care about how you're helping the profession, but also how you're supporting your customers evolve and develop. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. You've been listening to the Sales Confidence Podcast. My name's James Ski, CEO and founder of Sales Confidence. And we've had Mr. Adam Weeks, who is a leader over at Bigtincan. Look forward to chatting more in the future.